entering motherhood for the first time, I really felt the happiest, the most confident, the most stable of my life. I had a healthy marriage, impressive career. I had earned the title of master teacher at this prestigious school. I was a homeowner, rich in friendships. Life was good. I really had no awareness of wounds that still needed healing. I expected motherhood to come pretty naturally. I was a teacher. I had a master's in curriculum and instruction. I'd taught kids anywhere from preschool to 18 years old. I was a babysitter whose college professors trusted her to watch their toddlers for like an entire weekend while they would take, a getaway to New Orleans. I was nurturing, gentle, and patient. And I had a talent for helping kids feel really seen. That's what I loved about being a teacher. And then I became a mother. And 100% effacement is what the cervix needs in order for a baby to come out. The cervix opens and it thins. And effacement means to erase or obliterate, literally to remove the face. French word, effacer. Every story of myself at that point opened and thinned. And I felt like my face had been removed, every secure identity challenged, and every mask removed too. Every mask I had no idea I was wearing. It was terrifying. It was a free fall. And when my first son was born, and my lifelong dream of motherhood was coming true, I was terrified and I had trouble birthing him. As you mentioned, I had a C-section after 21 hours of labor. Failure to descend. I was fully dilated for 10 hours, all ready to go, just kind of stalled there. So I struggled to birth him. I struggled to feed him. Breastfeeding was extremely painful. And I struggled to bond with him too. I had this feeling of, oh my gosh, like I thought this tidal wave of overpowering love was going to hit me. And I'm not feeling that. So something must be really wrong and broken with me. Soon, sexual and emotional trauma from my past began to intrude upon my most intimate moments with my son. And yeah, I had a lot of panic about this isn't supposed to be happening right now. Not when it matters the very most that I keep it together for my baby. Like this is the moment that I'm supposed to have it together. The most important moment for me to have it together, and I don't. And at that point, really an urgent quest for healing began out of necessity.
I was trying to make sense of why your writing is so inherently like pleasurable to read and was so healing for me and brought me to a place of satiation when I was in such darkness. And I realized that when you courageously named just the nuanced mother pain, and also that it's not just pain, it's everything, it's a whole spectrum of human experience, but our culture doesn't talk about most of that spectrum for mothers. Right. We're given just this very one-dimensional or at best two-dimensional narrative of what motherhood is like. Either you're this basically perfect mom who sacrifices yourself and does everything and bounces back and, packs healthy lunches every day, or your postpartum depression and a train wreck. It's like that very binary two-dimensional view of motherhood. But what you are offering through your writings, through your courageous sharing of your story, is this nuanced picture And because I could see you writing about it and read your words, I belonged somewhere. Like my experience belonged somewhere. And in that belonging, I was enough. And therein lies that satiation for me. And the satiation is that meeting of needs. And the meeting of needs in a moment is pleasure. And so that's part of why I love your writing so much, and that it brought my postpartum experience out of this place of feeling isolated in this pit of ancestral pain and our cultural two-dimensional narrative to actually starting to help me integrate into a full human being, and allowing me to see and view motherhood as a portal to even greater humanity and greater belonging to my body,
Mm.
and greater belonging to this group of which we both are a part of, cycle breakers and ancestral healers, and the ones to find the words for this nuance and to find the words for the power and the non-binary like dimensionality of motherhood, being a human in this place.
Yes. Added to that is the guilt of being a mother today with so much more support and awareness than your mother, your grandmother, your great grandmothers and back had. You wonder, how is it possible for me to feel this terrible and this helpless when I have a partner who is actively engaged in this and is seeing me? I'm very fortunate to have that. I know that not everyone does, but even with that robust partnership, I was still feeling like this is so hard and so layered. And so then you wonder, or then you think, well, I must be, and I think this is an empath or sensitive person thing too. That must mean that I'm just especially weak, that I have all this support and like still I can't handle it. And all of those old fears that you thought you'd moved past, or I thought I'd moved past, they come back in full force, like times 10. Because when you become a mother, I mean, we have so many stories about what we expect of motherhood and about ourselves in motherhood. And when I became a mother, I felt like, well, this is the defining moment that shows my grit and who I am. There's so much pressure in that moment because it's that like initiation, that huge life transition. It's almost like everything was building up to this moment. And now let's see who you are. And it's an extraordinary amount of pressure.
I love what you say about the proximity of pleasure and the proximity of healing or a healed state, whatever that might mean. And something that's been really transformative for me is learning to wonder, what if healing wasn't a state, but what if being healed just means my relationship with myself right now?
Mm.
And what if being healed means I'm able to hold myself no matter what's arising in me at any given moment? And for me, I use the term empathic witnessing to refer to that state. Like I teach people to empathically witness themselves, and as such, like pretty immediately embody healing just right then. Like we are healed in any given moment, that we are an empathic witness to ourselves, an unconditional, loving, accepting presence to whatever is coming up in us. So that's been really transformative for me, because I was very much a striver, very much a perfectionist, very much I'm going to get somewhere where all my shadows are out and integrated and I am whole, whatever that might mean. But then I started to realize well, that's going to go on forever, especially after motherhood. It's like, well, my daughter just continually brings up new masks, new shadows that I'm wearing. And so I might as well relax into this process and realize it's really, healing is right here, and it's in my attitude toward myself.
Yes, I love that so much. And what I thought of when you were sharing that, you mentioned early on this mantra of, I am enough, or feeling enough. And that's something that we hear a lot today. It's kind of everywhere now. And I started to notice that it was not really holding any medicine for me anymore, that I was kind of resisting against that feeling of I am enough. And that even that was kind of creating some striving in me somehow. And so what I say to myself now, instead of I am enough, is I am alive to this. I am alive to this.